How did you get hooked into this team?
That guy right there gave me a call and asked me if I wanted to do a bicycle race with him, and I can't, you can't say no to that guy. I've been looking up for that guy for many years.
How does your motocross background come into an event like this?
I think it's, we have a little bit of training that we do on cycling, so I think most of us have done quite a bit of cycling, and just us motocross guys getting together, it was just like kind of like good old days of riding, and just the competitive spirit of fighting, because we all had our bad days, and I wouldn't say it was all at the same time either. Like, I would have a bad day, and then I'd start feeling better, and David and Jeff and Micky, and these guys, everybody was just, you could tell everybody was putting in 100%, and you knew that if you had a bad day, it was just going to come back again. And when I say a bad day, it was a shift. We were going on like 4-hour shifts, and that was like a day to me. Every time I'd see everybody, I'd just say good morning, because I knew half the time I'd be right. And it was just like you wake up, and it was just chaos. It was like a chaos, a smooth running, well, not so smooth, but it was like a chaos where we were just like constantly on the go. There was no time to do anything other than cycle, force yourself to eat and rest, and it was so much fun. So many things we got to see along the way, and it was an experience that I'll never forget.
Did you guys pair up, or did you stay in a rotation of 4?
We did quite a few different pairs, and we did what we had to do to get here. And those mountains. Once we got on this side of the coast, it was a lot of climbing, and thank goodness we had 4 really strong legs to help us up them hills.
All right, I'm not moving my foot. I'm just going to hand off the microphone.
I got my I've done this
Okay. So, what's it like being a part of Legends of the Road 2?
It's great. I mean, especially with a group of guys like this that we've grown up with, David racing, and Micky. Doug is my teammate, Supermoto. So when David gave me a call and asked if I wanted race across America, I said absolutely. And I'd always been a big cyclist when I was training, so and I'd been a big mountain bike rider. But I never really. Every time I would think into what we were doing, it scared me, so I never really did until probably we got going, and we did have some struggle. The heat was. There's nothing really you can prepare to get through it without problems. And, but like Doug said, from the motocross background, we've all had those and knew what to do and helped one another. And it's kind of like David put together the Motocross Nations, and that's how we worked back then when we were rivals and competitors, but we came as a team. We got together and made it happen, and that's what we did here.
Competition is competition really no matter what you're doing. It's the same. In RAAM, it just goes on for a week. It's like the ultimate adrenaline rush.
Yeah, it got tough at the end for sure too, at the hills. It was very difficult, but we had a good time. I mean, there's so many things going on, but like Doug said, yeah, the same thing. You didn't know when it was morning, you didn't know when it was night, except it was dark. But it was just once I got the beginning part, we were pretty gung ho and probably way too much energy, and we settled in and realized how much farther, at least I did, how we had to go, and then so we had some really good times.
I mean, one of the things I always loved about being in RAAM is just, that's all that exists for a while. You're in a total little bubble, there's no news, there's nothing but what you're doing. It's kind of the ultimate focus.
Yeah, we did have some moments in the beginning, and we tried to pull in the reins, but we're not those people that can do that very good, so we ended up into day 2, or and like Doug was saying, you wake up for a 4-hour shift. Our shifts were a little different. We had perimeters that we needed to work around, and our crew had to dig deep and find ways to make things happen. It wasn't as simple as just pulling a bike off and putting it in front of a rider. There was a lot of work that took a lot of teamwork, and yeah, we had moments in the beginning where it was like, hey, how are we gonna make this? How are we gonna finish? And not that we were gonna accept that we couldn't finish. We just needed to find the way that we could keep rotating and do good. It meant that we had to deal with a lot less sleep, not so many comforts, but just I don't know, teamwork that took everybody to be a part of. And we jumped in when we could. We helped each other with certain parts of the ride, as well as like all the crew jumping in and trying to balance like two separate programs. You know, the hand cycles they're an amazing piece of equipment, but they require a lot of I don't know, protection and
no, that's one of my biggest questions too. I mean, you get used to unloading a bike a certain way, and then you've got a completely different bike, and as you're getting sleep deprived or you're feeling rushed, it's easy to forget to put a wheel back up or mount it. Or I mean, it's easy to leave things behind and make little mistakes that can become really big mistakes.
Yes, and the safety aspect of these bikes are so
We're here.
yeah, they are so that fast that I mean, you've ridden about everything in this race, and I think you would get a kick out of seeing these guys go down a hill, because we can't stay with them.
Oh, I'm waiting to ask.
I know the GPS results should show that they're capable of speeds over 100 miles an hour easy. Dan Gurney built them, so they're basically one of a kind. And what they couldn't manage in certain areas, Jeff and I had to jump in and fill in, and Jeff and I climbed like monkeys, you know, throughout this thing, and we had long shifts. Man, I had one shift that was like 24 hours almost.
I love hearing that. I love hearing that you didn't have the comfort, because that's RAAM.
And honestly, all four of us, and I guess I've had the more comforted life than any. Everybody's had trials and tribulations, but these guys have been through things that most people will never dream of, trying to get their head around or understand what it's like to live in that place, and just to be an observer and be a part of David's idea to do RAAM, and I choked up constantly during this race. I remember places that I saw Dave Mira come down and meet at a traffic light in Grafton, and we had a race all day long, and myself and Ben Bostrom, the original Legends of the Road, fought, and we were able to win. And the same thing happened in so many occasions on the daily 4-hour shifts. We lived days that rotated in 4-hour shifts, and I'm just so honored that I got to be a part of this Legends of the Road, and I love these guys. They're just awesome.
Not to sound overly personal, but I was thinking about you a lot last Saturday. Because in the desert, I believe it was 115 degrees. What is that like when you're that close to the asphalt in temperatures like that? Because I mean, that's air temperature, and the heat that's reflecting up off the street can be 120, 125. How did you stay cool? mean, your personality, I'm sure you had no trouble, but I mean, physically.
No, I didn't stay cool. I stayed as cool as I could. There's some gold foil under here, and here goes the space, so that was supposed to help. And I just put my confidence in knowing that these bikes were built in a way that you could have a lot of airflow, be low and narrow and fast, but practical. And so I did everything I could do to be prepared. Like Micky said, Dan Gurney and his All-American racers did build these bikes, and they're one of a kind, two of a kind. And as soon as I got it out of the truck in Borrego, when Micky came down the hill and through the traffic circle, and I got out of the truck, I was like, oh my God, that was so hot. And it got hotter when I took off because there was a kind of a crossing headwind, and my mouth was instantly dry. And it was just like somebody had a hair dryer. I couldn't believe it, and I got passed by a couple people, and I didn't get a rhythm. And there were thoughts going through my head on the way out to that first stop where I was like, I don't know if I made the right call here. I might have bit off more than I could chew. And I was really wrestling with myself for that whole first like 10 or 15 mile stretch going, I don't know if I can do it. And but these three guys I have so much respect for, and so much work went into putting this together that I was like, I have to do it. I don't care how bad it is, I just have to do it. And so I wasn't even really paying attention to how fast I was going or anything else other than I've got to make this work somehow, and it was unbearable. But we're here.
Again, I think on an upright, you know, we get ice and put it in socks and run it around your neck, but in this position, if you did that, you'd have water just melting down into your shorts, and that could cause all sorts of problems. How did you keep cool to the best of your ability while you were out on the road? I mean, you just had to...
In the first day and a half, it took me a long time, probably that long, to really realize that, okay, this is happening, and I have to do it. But I didn't get punched in the face until we got into Utah and into Colorado. We were going up the big climbs, and coming out of Monument Valley, Jeff and Doug went through the main part, the Forrest Gump section, and then Micky and I took the section after that, and that's where it felt like the hottest. And I had a nice fast downhill right there, but the rest of it was incredible, and there's not always somewhere to pull over to make the switch.
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, the van's going to be up here, and then I'd have to go around a corner and up another hill to finally get to the van. And so that left me out there without anything to drink. And there was definitely challenges, but I watched the first one and YouTube clips again of it at 82, and then I watched it in 84 and 85 and 86. And then I watched Micky do it in 2014. Until then, I watched it as a fan going, those guys are nuts. But it's entertaining, you know, and look how far they can push themselves, what they do. I was really impressed. But when Micky did it, he said, yeah, I'm in. I won't quit till we get there. And then he started asking me questions about it, like, what even is it? So I thought that was pretty cool. That's how Doug rolls. He's just going, yeah, let's do it. What is it? What's it going to take? And then he just manufactures enough want and will to make it happen. So that was the first call. So Doug, thanks a lot for saying yes, because that made me go to the next step, which was getting the bikes built. And then I realized it was going to be tough to find 2 other hand cyclists, so we thought it would be really cool to split it, 2 up, 2 down kind of deal, and make that bridge a little bit. You know, we all ride with people that I ride with people that are on bikes, and so Doug said, well, what about, I had already talked to Micky about putting together 4 hand cycles, and he wanted to help. There just needed some people, and my wife goes, that's just going to be a nightmare. We got 4 chairs and 4 hand cycles and crew, and we're going to need like a caravan going down the road of vehicles to haul all that. So Doug said, what about Micky? And he thought through, because he'd been through it, and after a little while he said yes, and then as soon as he said yes, he goes, we got it for you. So we called Jeff, and while I was still on my way home, I got a text saying, Wardy's in! So we had a team. So I couldn't really, I had somebody ask me, you know, during the race, it's the first time, man, next year, you know, I honestly don't see how you put together a team like this. I and Micky means so much to me, and to see him out here actually do it, and to be out there suffering, and to know that he just did that 44-hour shift, covering for me quite a bit down there towards the end, and for all of us a couple times. Man, he's strong. I'm very impressed at what he's been able to accomplish. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be doing this at all. And then Jeff, it's just, to me, he's just like a happy kid, you know, he's whatever it takes, he does it. He's always raring to go, he doesn't complain. I love that about him. And there was plenty to complain about, but he never did. And I can't believe it, man. 7 days, whatever hours that was. I mean, I was thinking, I hope I could.
1958. Now, I was just asked to ask you about Road to Recovery real quick.
Well, I didn't want to start some kind of GoFundMe thing, and we, you know, people assume we've done well and have all kinds of money sitting behind us, but not necessarily the case. And even if it were, I wanted to do something that I thought would be bigger than just us achieving this goal, and that would have a bigger impact and reach more people and have a lasting impact. And so Jimmy Button, who was injured in San Diego in the motorcycle race, was in practice actually, he went through breaking his neck and getting better, and he rode his bicycle from San Diego to Daytona. Perfect guy to ask, hey, here's what I'm thinking. Could your foundation benefit from this? Could this turn into something? And he said, yes, I want to help you with it. Please let us help you. And so it started from there early January, and we got the sponsors on board and everything, and we had a solid foundation to route things through. When I was in trouble and had some pressure sore issues, not so far back, they helped me with some money. So, people just need hope. They need a little bit of support sometimes just to get kind of going again, and know that some people care and that they don't have an excuse to kind of just camp out on a bummer attitude. And I've been there. It's hard to get out of that. And so we have to help, give you leverage to push a little bit. And so I wanted to just say thanks to Road to Recovery, and Lori for her hard work, and Jimmy Button and Mom Anita for accepting this and going through the stress. I mean, they have a lot to do already, and then they just threw this on their desk and was like, what even is RAAM? Then when they realized how big it was and how special it is, it was like, okay, let's put them on the front burner. And I appreciate them really making the sacrifice to pull this off, because without their help, we couldn't have done it. And the fact that we've done it now, I think it's going to probably reach more eyeballs and create a little bit more buzz, and perhaps there'll be another team next year.
Legends of the Road, thanks very much. Again, 7 days, 19 hours, 58 minutes. Rick Oakland with your finishers medal.
You guys pop that helmet off for me? Make sure you get the logos right. Yeah. All right. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thanks. Yeah. Here. Yeah, promise.